at the moment I'm working with a video production company. So, but yeah, on the team main.
Anne-Marie, good to have you. You're all seated. Thanks for joining. Anne-Marie, I blame you. You are one of the reasons I haven't been doing these live streams for a long time, because there was a time, the day that I did a live stream with you, I had like 6 other live streams, and I think that burnt me out.
Only 6, Tucker?
Only 6. I don't know. One or two of them might have been a workshop. Don't take my word for it.
You can't remember, can you?
It's not a live stream. 27 seconds, guys. We'll see you soon. Hello. There's me. Hello, everybody. My name is Tucker Johnson, and I'm your host today as we experience Nimdzi Live, where we talk about the latest and the greatest in translation, localization, internationalization, culturalization, and all that fun stuff global companies need to delight their international customers, or at least not to piss them off too much. Here on the program, we invite guests who like to have fun and have some value to add for our audience of globalization professionals. I'm always eager to provide a platform to those with a good story or a good data set. So let us know if there are any topics that you would like covered or guests that we should reach out to for future episodes. You can contact live at nimdzi.com. Next up on the list, if you haven't already subscribed to Nimdzi Insights, then now is the time to do this. If you're watching this on your platform of choice, and you hit that subscribe button or the follow button, then you're going to be the first person to know. You're going to be the first person to get notified when Nimdzi schedules new live streams, so that you can make sure to join up and have fun in the comments. We already got some people in the comments. We got Anne-Marie, we've got Stefan, we've got Juliana, we've got Anna. Welcome. If you're in the comments, make sure to, where are you? This side? Yeah. Over here. Make sure to make yourself known over there. Before we get into this too much, I gotta make some money here. I've gotta plug some stuff. Today I want to plug the Multilingual Mercantile. You get a bunch of cool stuff. You can get a localization, make localization great again hat from Nimdzi, which is a reference that is 6 years too late, but I still find hilarious. You can get all sorts of stuff. Go over to mercantile.multilingual.com. Likewise, at Multilingual, over on the multilingual side of things, we have a new podcast out there hosted by my colleague, Marjolein Groot-Nibelink, the CEO and publisher for Multilingual Magazine. It's daily podcast, quick 3 minutes of audio, all you need to know on a daily basis about the language services industry. So, before I get started and bring on my co-host and my guest today, we're going to do a little introduction to the platform. We're doing this as a live stream. We're live streaming to a bunch of places: YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and of course LinkedIn. LinkedIn is where it's at. That's where the main party is. So if you're watching this on another platform, come on over to LinkedIn. Make sure to follow Nimdzi Insights company page so that you can be notified. The cool thing, regardless of where you're at, if you're on LinkedIn, if you're on YouTube, Facebook, you leave a comment in the comments, and we're going to see it up on screen here, and we'll do our best to be getting to those comments throughout the course of this live stream. So make your voices heard and just say hi. This is an event. This isn't a webinar. It's an event. What do you do at events? You network. So say hi to people, have side conversations, do whatever you need to do. So today's topic and guest. From understanding your ICP to aligning sales and marketing teams, we look at the challenges that LSP marketers and business owners face, as well as the opportunities that arise and come with them. Lucy Kikuchi has been working in translation since 2008, both on the agency side and on the client side. She started her career, get that out of here. She started her career at a small LSP in Tokyo and currently works for a Europe and US based LSP, which is headquartered in Germany. Currently, we're going to talk about that because you got some interesting career stuff going on, but I don't want to bury the lead here. So she is a certified marketing nerd and happy to talk at length on all things marketing whenever the opportunities arise. And I know because she has had me as a guest on her podcast, and I have indoctrinated you into the cult of live streaming, haven't I, Lucy?
I have been indoctrinated. This is true. Yeah.
Well, good. Well, thank you. We're going to get back to you. And, of course, lovely as always, Nika Aliverdi is my guest host today. Why? Because I needed to have someone who knew something about marketing. And she is our marketing chief marketing officer. And something, right? But, of course, the most important guest today is always you. It's in the chat. So make sure that you're making your voice heard. Make sure that you are leaving comments, and we'll try to get to those. We're going to try to keep the conversation. I find 45 minutes is the sweet spot, but if we go long, we go long, and that is just fine. So, Lucy, it's good to finally have you on the show. I promised you this a long time ago. We talked about it, and I remember it was summer because I was on vacation at the time when we were talking about it. So it's been a while, but it's good to finally have you on the show.
Yeah, thank you. I'm really excited to be here. So thank you for inviting me. Yeah. Let's get stuck in.
And Nika, did I do okay with your introduction?
You did great.
You did great.
I always love to, like I mentioned, lament and console marketers. So.
Well, I want to start off today asking you, Lucy, because the reason we also reached back out to you here is because I saw that you were leaving the industry.
Yeah.
How long have you been? True. How long have you been in the industry, and why and how are you leaving?
Yeah, so I've kind of been in and around the industry. So, like in 2008, I was a translation checker at a small agency in Tokyo, which was brilliant, and then I moved to a big Japanese manufacturer into their marketing department, and I was their in-house marketing translator. So I sat with the marketing team.
Wait, and you lived in Japan?
Yes, for 7 or 8 years. Yeah. So
I didn't know that. That's a big advantage because Japan is always the special market. in global business, right? It's it's the one that requires extra attention, so that's huge. I didn't know that.
Oh god, oh my! I can totally imagine. Like, I mean, in Japan, everything has to be like top notch. But so I worked with an agency, and then I worked in house with a manufacturer as their translator, marketing, and then I had babies and did some freelance work, and I moved to my current job where EVS Translations, which is headquartered in Germany, and I've been there for like 8 years, and I love those guys, and if any of them are watching, big shout out to everybody there. I am a certified marketing nerd, and because of this I decided to kind of stretch my marketing muscles in a new industry. So I am moving to the life sciences pharmaceutical industry, taking up a marketing content manager role for a drug discovery company. So that's the kind of initial research into drug development before it gets to clinical trials. So that's going to be a learning curve, but I'm excited.
You know, It may, but I'm always fascinated to talk to people that are leaving the industry because I think there's this perception that like the localization industry is so specialized that my skills won't transfer. Have you? I know it's a little early to ask this question, but what have you found about that?
I yeah, I think they are very transferable. I think, it depends what type of marketing. I wouldn't necessarily try and put myself forward for a B2C, a retail role or something. But certainly in terms of like B2B marketing, I think, even in the new place that I'm going to, I see very similar challenges. And I think these are common with many organizations. And so it's very transferable. I mean, we're all trying to sort of generate demand, interest, new business. We're using different channels to sort of achieve that. And we're trying to sort of promote a product that has numerous people in the decision-making chain. So it's difficult to know, who to reach out to. And it's
B2B marketing is it's a different animal. It's a different animal.
It is, yeah. But if anybody in the sort of language services industry that is interested in sort of moving out to somewhere else, I mean, like there's many of the same tools and challenges. So, but I've loved it. I've always loved this industry because as soon as you start, it's just instantly internationally facing. It's all these businesses that have very different reasons for getting content out to international markets. So, you could be with a pharma company that the regulatory affairs team that wants to submit documentation in a foreign language. So they've got that to deal with. Annual reports. Some countries, they have to submit the annual reports in a second language. And then you get sort of marketing where maybe companies are trying to break into multiple different markets. And so it's just really fascinating to kind of get into those stories, like, where are these companies kind of focused on? What's the story behind that? And how do you kind of overcome the sort of challenges? It could be like localization sort of challenges, with marketing. It could be sort of how you speak to that particular market. So, but I've always loved it. Yeah, it's very globally facing.
Yeah, and I think our audience today wants to really talk about localization industry marketing, and I know Nika's got it. She's chomping at the bit here to ask you a bunch of questions. But I just want to see it in the comments here. I saw Anastasia Rylnikov. I'm horrible with names, guys. Definitely difficult when you don't grasp the localization space, local world as a marketer. Maybe let's start with that, and then I promise I'll shut up and let the boss lady talk here. But what have you found that's unique about the localization industry when it comes to marketing? Do you require special knowledge and abilities, skills, or anything like that, or is it all just B2B marketing? Like, do you need to really know the localization space in order to effectively market for an LSP?
Oh gosh, wow, that's a big question, isn't it? So if you're coming, I mean, I like when I was in Japan, when I worked for the manufacturer, that was actually sewing machines. So that was so that was B2C actually. And then, but coming into the localization industry, I think it always helps if you have an appreciation of languages, if you've lived or worked with different languages, because you have this understanding of like the challenges. I think a lot of people who aren't involved in any way with like foreign languages, they assume a lot of things that are just not kind of true. Like if you take this word and you just put it in, if you take the sentence and you just swap the words with the foreign language, that's your translation. So, and I think people who speak different languages know that it requires more time and skill than that. And I'm trying to remember your question now, but like,
No, it's just what's the is there a specialization in the localization industry? And I'll let you off the hook. Nika, tell us about
And
your journey because you weren't
yeah,
hired as a okay.
I was just gonna I was just going to say that uh, yeah, if you're the functions may stay similar, right? Across industries and marketing function, like you still have the core activities. You still got advertisements, you've got social media and digital marketing, you've got press, you've got SEO and web, you've got all of those different activities. But when you're armed with the skills that you are, Lucy, in the localization industry, you really know that a message will resonate with a certain market or a group of people, or it won't because of language. But then you're taking those skills and now you're going to, let's say, a different industry. You're going out life sciences.
Yeah.
So you're taking the marketing functions, and you're also taking like that localization knowledge, knowing that your translation might not resonate with a certain audience or a certain market. So yeah, that's interesting. But I wanted to piggyback off of Tucker's question and kind of reposition it, saying, when you are keeping the functions of marketing, you're still in the marketing role, but now you're going to a new industry. What's your approach to learn about that space? As a marketer, you need to know the different, angles, like what are the clients saying? What are the vendors saying? Where's everybody at? So what's your approach to going to this whole new environment? It's a different environment. So the rules are still kind of the same. It's marketing, right? But it's a terrain now.
Yeah, I must admit it is daunting because as I said, I worked in a translation agency in Tokyo, and I also did freelance translation. And then when I came to the EVS, this current company, like I had done translation, so I had a very good understanding of the sort of process and what it takes, and the value of a good translator with proper translation skills. So I had a very good foundation. It made it very easy to sort of come in and yes, I can write the blogs and I can do the social media, because you sort of have that confidence. Whereas with my new position, I guess it's very daunting, because this is something, not only do I not know anything about this like molecular chemistry, compound chemistry, there's no chance of me really, kind of understanding this subject matter. It's not going to be, oh, well, in a couple of years' time, you'll have a good understanding of how compound chemistry works. It's I think, like for me, I've always kind of thought that marketers, they always need to collaborate. I always think that collaboration is such a huge part of marketing, because it's so dependent on being able to reach out to people around the organization and to sort of to get their insight and their understanding, and then to sort of filter out filter what you need as a marketer, and then to sort of repackage that in a kind of a marketing message. So I really hope that I get to sort of collaborate with people, and I know I will, with the scientists. So I think it's about kind of learning from the experts and like letting them guide you on like what the kind of challenges are, what the kind of pain points of the process is, and then sort of packaging that up in all the sort of usual channels and messaging that you'd expect.
Yeah, it's kind of like you have to now be obsessed with a new space, and if you're not, you can't allow yourself to soak it up.
Yes, I know, that's the thing, isn't it? I think I can't imagine marketing something that I wasn't really interested in. Like I'm really excited to get into life sciences and the pharmaceutical industry. But I know I was speaking to a lady not so long ago. She's sort of the head of a marketing sort of networking organization, and she was telling me, some people have been marketing detergent for 25 years and they just want something new, and you have to love the sort of, or have an interest in the product and the service, and to sort of that comes through in the work, I guess. So I think it's
also seeing how that product fits into like the bigger picture, right? because
Mm-hmm.
your product's not alone. It's got some other friends on the shelves. It's got changes happening to it. Like, tools are changing. The way that you can approach channels is changing. So you really have to have like your eyes and ears open.
Yeah.
And going into a new space, a new industry.
Yeah.
You have to.
And it's exhausting anyway, because marketing, it changes so frequently, like one year everybody's kind of doing something. It's like, yeah, this is great. This is a new cool channel. It really works. And then, 6 months later, a year later, people have moved on,
Yeah.
And so it's kind of, I shouldn't say exhausting, but it's tiring, like trying to keep up with this all. It's challenging anyway.
Can I show this to you, Lucy? Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the type of shit that marketers, you know what I'm saying? We're always like, oh, the metaverse is a thing now. We have to go explore it, right? It's like, go get a headset. Remember Clubhouse? Were you part of that? You're a podcaster. Were you part of the Clubhouse?
I never did it. And I heard
Good for
about
you.
it.
You saved some time.
It sort of came and went. I don't know. I know there are still people that really use it and love it, but I just never, I saw it and I never really got into it. But everything moves so quickly. And the other thing is that, like, when you're sort of trying to like execute some sort of like campaign or something, it's so tempting to try and get all things like lined up perfectly, and you don't want to let go until it's like absolutely perfect and you're not sure, like but you've got to do it because if you sit on it for a year, if 6 months, by the time you come to sort of let that out, it's that's not what people are kind of into anymore, so you have to sort of move quickly.
Perfect is definitely the enemy of good enough. And when it comes to marketing,
if I may add, by the time that you prep that campaign, the way that users interact with a certain platform may have changed. The way that a platform pushes out content may have changed. So let's say Reels and TikTok, not huge in our space, but there's a lot of potential in there to get messages out in B2B in general. But let's say with those platforms, they will do something for 6 months, and then they will want original sounds to be used instead of trending sounds. So they will now push out content with a certain feature or whatever content it is that they want pushed out. So you must also be abreast of those things too as you're in your campaign.
Yeah, it's true, isn't it? I mean, I just yesterday on LinkedIn, I was reading, there's a really great guy. If any of you are doing LinkedIn paid advertising, there's a really great guy on LinkedIn called AJ Wilcox, and I think he's great, and I follow his content. And people were chatting in the comment section yesterday about linked images on LinkedIn. So not so long ago, people were saying, make your images colorful, make them bright, because you want an image that's going to stop the scrolling, thumb stopping image. Yeah, there he is. I think he's fantastic. I want to sit on a beach and have a cocktail with him.
All right, AJ, you're getting a plug. You're getting the Lucy bump here.
Yeah. So we were talking about this, like, it was that people wanted thumb scrolling, stop people, get people's attention, bright image, great. And then he was saying that actually recently with like LinkedIn, people are responding possibly like something he's kind of looking at, but possibly responding better to just a plain, like kind of text-based post. And it's funny, it just kind of goes in like, in phases, like people get exhausted. It's like, and I called it image fatigue, where at one point everybody wanted like the nice, colorful, attractive images. And then after a while, we all get tired of it and we just kind of zone out. And then it's like, okay, if people are zoning out from these colorful images, what do we replace that with? And it's like people just want it all toning down a little bit. And so this is another thing, because I started running this campaign like a couple of months ago, and it's like, like, oh, should I change something now? Or yeah, it's a lot to keep up with, that's for sure. Yeah,
the context is changing, so again, you need to be a little obsessed and see what's going on.
Yes, yeah, you do. You have to be very sort of like this live stream. Yeah, I think it's great to get together with other marketers and just to talk about these things, and just brainstorm with people and find out what's working for them. And I think it's a great thing to do, because I think with marketing, it's not something that if you don't really sort of get out and sort of read about what other people are doing or meet other marketers, I think it is going to be difficult. Yeah.
Let's go if I can interrupt, let's go to the chat, because I saw an interesting question in here from Lib Nori. Strategies for keeping up with social media trends? ? What are some, that's kind of, it's what we're talking about. It's like, how do we stay up with, like, what is social media changes so quickly, right? So how are we identifying, what are some tips that you guys can have about identifying what's the next social media trend? How could I have saved a ton of time by realizing earlier that Clubhouse was a dead end? Would that have been possible, right?
Yeah.
Like, how do I know what the next trends are? So do you have any tips for fellow B2B marketers out there, or B2C marketers?
Gosh, that's tricky. I mean, I just try to have my places that I go to for advice. I seek out like value, kind of really good value content creators sort of in the for example, in the LinkedIn ad space, and I gave an example there, AJ Wilcox. But I think, because the thing is, like, you can go online to get all this information, but it gets overwhelming. It's like information overload. And so I think you have to just find like a few trusted sources, and sort of keep, dip into that. And also, like, if you're just about to, or if you're getting close to sort of doing something like launching a campaign, just kind of, catch up on with that person, with their content. But like, I would choose like some select sources. Don't let yourself sort of get overwhelmed. And also with something like social media, because there's a lot of hype and people are, talking about a lot of different things, and it can get easy to kind of, you don't know what to do and just sort of jump in and do something. But choose some trusted sources, I think, if that's really good advice.
No, that's good.
That's a really good tip. And you are also your own trusted source, right? Like, you can't just think of which trends should we jump on. You must also think, like, as a company, what's our story phasing plan? Like, what products are we pushing out? What services do we talk about? What do we want to talk about as our company? And then you use the trends as like hurdles, right? Like, you jump use that, or income, right?
It's so true, isn't it? Because at the same time, like, you don't have to jump on these things that people are talking about on social media. Sometimes it comes down to sort of your company and like what works for you and what works for your business, and also the sort of dynamics and the resources in your team. And it might not be the same as kind of other people. So like, sort of to trust the fact that you might not do things exactly as how everybody else is saying that they're doing it, but that's okay. And also, inevitably, I think, like with marketing, like there always will be an element of like, it's just testing, test something. Did it work? If it works, like, optimize it. Like, if it hasn't worked, okay, take that as a lesson, move on, sort of thing.
Are you familiar with design thinking? The design thinking process? No, it's this process, it's this methodology, and everyone here at Nimdzi gets training on it, and we talk about it all the time. But it's very much, it's kind of like the same thing. It's just like minimal viable product, just tests, you design something, you prototype it, you throw it out there, you get the feedback, and you're just constantly iterating. And I feel that's kind of the approach that you have to have with marketing, because you don't know what's going to work. Like this live streaming thing, it started off as just playing around with it. And
Yeah.
I never expected it to do much. The reason
Yeah.
I started doing it was because I wanted to be able to tell our customers here at Nimdzi Insights, because they come to us for, advice on like, what should my marketing strategy be. So I wanted to be able to tell our clients, like, yes, this is a cool thing, you should be doing it, or no, don't waste your time on it. And so like nowadays I tell my clients, don't waste your time on TikTok, don't waste your time on Clubhouse, because we've looked at those. Don't waste your time on Twitch. But LinkedIn live streaming seemed to like, people liked it. And I was like, oh shit, people like this. I guess we're going to keep doing it.
Yeah.
Now we have, we got 30 people. This is an event
Yeah.
with 30 people here. That's awesome.
Yeah.
We got people from
Yeah.
Dubai, people from Ljubljana. Oh my gosh, I'm horrible. Gordana, I'm sorry. Gordana, you've been to Nimdzi Live before, and I apologize. We got people from Brazil, from Czech Republic, from Sweden, from Riyadh, from Germany, from Houston, right? And like, this is a cool thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And it takes time, doesn't it? That's the other thing. Like, it's always a bit of a risk, isn't it? Because it's so easy to try something and then you sort of look at the analytics and you're like, oh God, that nothing happened. And then you give up and go on to the next thing. But
you're like, I only got 20 views. What?
Yeah.
20 views. That's 20 views.
It's difficult to judge where, like you kind of, some things you just have to take sort of like the long game approach, and you have to give it time. And
we've talked about this before, Lucy. I think the main thing that you have to focus on is, are you having fun, right? Are you enjoying it, right? And I mean, if I'm just going to be honest, that's why I do the live streaming, because I'd like an excuse to spend lots of money on audio equipment, and I find it fun, right? And if you're not having fun, then what are you doing as a marketer?
Yeah. I mean, I did the live streaming. There's various reasons, really. One was because I just love to play with the tools, Two, because I watched a lot of YouTube tutorials to learn Adobe Creative Cloud, and I just thought, I want to be a big YouTuber. But it was also like just testing stuff. And and it's a good way to sort of keep on. Oh my God, look!
Oh yeah, you weren't getting out of this without plugging your YouTube channel here.
Oh my goodness, yeah. My kids are very proud of me. They're like, "Oh, Mommy's a YouTuber."
Oh, I'm very proud of you. You have fans out there, right? And
I've got that far,
yeah, I wasn't asking. I was telling. You have fans out there, and I recommend everybody who's listening live or watching the recording, maybe I'll drop a link into the chat when Nika asks her next question. But real interesting conversation. How do you find your guests?
Gosh.
And I'll try not to turn this into a live stream about live streaming.
Sure. A lot of it has been sort of serendipity. So me and John McRae, he's such a good, and we were in a chat section, like we were in the comment section of somebody's post, and we both sort of connected on the topic of sort of losing a dad, and I don't know how that turned into a live stream, but when you sort of just like meet someone and you sort of just hit a spark. So, and then there's like Richard Berger, a great guy in Tokyo, Anthony Griffin. I can't even remember now. I think these are people that I've come across on LinkedIn, and I've just kind of asked them. I think I was very, very lucky to interview the head of BBC China, which
that's cool.
Don't know how I did that.
You asked.
That was terrifying.
That's how you did it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And this is the thing, like it's this whole thing, isn't it? Is like, am I going to put myself out there and potentially look like an idiot? Or am I just going to sit at home and wonder what it would be like? So I think, I don't know.
I think which of those two options I always choose.
Yes. Yeah. So,
which is giving my poor marketing manager gray hair in her ripe old age in her 20s, because she goes around cleaning up my messes I make online.
Oh my
I'm still in my 20s. That's really nice, Tucker. Thank you. We'll keep it there.
We'll keep it. Yeah, I round down when I'm on a live stream, just in case.
Thank you. But like, but I do want to say that it's a constant like game of listening and then acting, right?
Yeah.
So like things that are trending, they're trending for a reason. People are
Mhm.
reacting to something. There's a
Mhm.
reaction for a reason. The
Mhm.
economy's changing, businesses are changing, people are reacting, things trend.
Yeah, yeah.
Again, it's like you just have to be perceptive
Mhm.
all the time.
Mhm.
All the time.
Yeah.
Going to change
Yeah.
and you have to like change with it.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it is very challenging. But at the same time, you know, that's what makes it so kind of fun to work in marketing, because you do learn so much and sort of get involved in a lot of different things. So, um, but I wanted to bring up a subject that I also people were talking about on a podcast the other day, which was this idea of like marketers being under pressure for like attribution. And so this is another guy that I follow, who's Chris Walker, and he's got a really great perspective on things. And he was sort of saying that the pressure for sort of like attribution to show sort of, you know, you got this many leads and, you know, this many sort of soft conversions and things like this is kind of killing creativity, which I find a really interesting topic. So this kind of, yeah, you're spending a lot of money on marketing, so inevitably people want to see results, and you have to show results, and results might come in the form of, for example, this is how many people we got through to sort of have a demo or something, you know, or something like that. And it sort of starts to become about sort of collecting leads, and how I think he talks about sort of demand generation, which is I find really fascinating. And so it's less about sort of how you can attribute leads, you know, from which channels and things, but just allowing yourself to sort of be like more creative with your marketing, and do things kind of from innovation and through creativity, rather than, oh my god, I'm running a campaign, and in July we've said that we've got to do a lead gen form, so we're going to do that in July, because then because at the end of it we need to show like the head sort of how many leads we've got, you know. And I can see why he says that. He said it, you know, I think his quote was like, marketers are handcuffed by attribution, and it kills creativity and innovation. And I find that really fascinating, because I think it's so noisy out there. There's so much competition. And I do think that creativity is the way that people are going to win it. I think, like, maybe I probably shouldn't say win it. It sounds like really ruthless, but I think maybe organizations that can get a handle on all the data that's coming in, like with all these tools, like the companies that really learn how to like harness that data and then maybe respond to that data like through a creative approach, will probably, you know, come out on top. So I think creativity like is a huge thing, but we don't always get time to sort of explore that, because we're trying to get people sort of down a funnel, you know, so it's not easy.
Yeah, it's this constant like juggling of analytics and being able to see what's happening, and then creativity and being able to guide how you want to show something because you understand the value of that thing for your customer, for your audience, right? So it's like always battling with those two things. And I think that's why I like it a lot, because you get to create something and then see how does that perform. You get to create something, iterate on that. How does that resonate with the people we're trying to communicate with?
Yeah. It's great. So like I think so, creativity is sort of a big thing, and as well as like I guess the other like key thing is getting those kind of real customer insights as well, like this whole kind of idea of like sales and marketing, sort of bringing those two functions together, and you know, getting those kind of real customer insights from sales teams, because once you have that, you know, it just kind of informs the different channels and what you're doing. Like if you're running a campaign, like obviously you're targeting this to sort of this audience, and you need to sort of say something that really sort of resonates with them. They need to be able to see this ad and sort of know that you're talking about them and that you understand them. And you know, marketing isn't a customer facing role, so you need to sort of get these insights from kind of the wider team, like your salespeople, or, you know, maybe like account managers. So I think that's a big challenge as well, is how you get these teams interacting with each other, collaborating with each other, sharing knowledge. Because if you don't do that, if marketing is just kind of sat there guessing and saying, well, you know, it sounds good and I think this is right, it's just not going to kind of resonate with people, and you only get, you know, a few seconds to sort of make an impression. So you have to it really needs to show that you know who you're talking to and what they need, I guess. So that's another big challenge. Yeah, and we're an organization of like 150 people, so that, I mean, and I know that's still relatively small. Like some people who are watching, you know, might be from some very, very big companies where it's, you know, a massive challenge, but still like 150 people, and we're split across different offices in different countries. So that is really challenging, you know, how you get people sharing knowledge, you know, because if you can sort of get that sort of as a foundation, then I think that will make things easier, and I'm sure it will help sort of success rates. Yeah.
And that ties into what you were saying about collaboration. I've seen smaller companies trying to, us included, trying to, as they grow, define what are the pillars of the activities that you're going to be working on, right? And then as there comes a time where you have like way too much on your hands, and you have to decide, okay, well, as my department grows, what functions need to get done, and how do I plug people into those functions? Like, do I need to hire for a certain position as we grow? How does that? How do those roles then communicate with the other departments in your company? And you can't. You have to break the silos. You have to.
Yeah. It's kind of, oh my God, silos. It's like human nature, isn't it? It's just human nature, and like to break that it's really difficult. And I think especially for marketing, I think, you know, marketing doesn't naturally have necessarily sort of a
respect.
What, sorry?
Respect.
Oh, respect. Yeah, like you have to show the sort of the value, and because people don't, it's kind of vague to people, you know, like, oh, there's a website with some content on it, and there's some social media channels and people are posting on it, and that's what they see, and they don't see this whole kind of customer journey, which is multiple kind of touch points, you know. And you've got the website, you've got the back end of the website, you've got your sort of social media channels, you've got your paid advertising, you've got your paid search, and sort of bringing all those things together, and so it's difficult for people to sort of really picture that, I guess, who don't work in marketing. And so you have to kind of, as you know, as much as can be expected, it's not like they have to know what marketing is, but yeah, you have to sort of like promote what your department does, and how it helps the business, and how it helps individuals, how it helps salespeople, how it helps project managers. Like, let people know like the value of like what you're doing for their role. You can make their life easier, you know. And so that can be very tricky. And I think, yeah, that's probably the bigger that you get, that's going to get sort of harder and harder. I think, you know, with small companies, like with some companies, they're probably all sat in the same room, you know, and so everybody sort of knows each other. But it gets really hard to do that when you don't see these people. And so, yeah, like I think, yeah, sort of promoting sort of like the marketing department, like is a really important thing. Definitely. I made notes on that somewhere. I'm just like, that was a key point.
I'll save you here because we got a question from Francesco Sfrappmelli. Question for Lucy. What are some of the best, see more. All right. What are some of the best tools you found in B2B marketing? And I don't mean necessarily just digital tools. Curveball. So what are some of the best tools you have out there? I mean, you've got HubSpot and CRMs and all of that stuff. I can tell you, Restream, right? We've talked about this. Okay. Restream, right? This is how, people ask, well, how are you live streaming to Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and all of these things at once? Restream.io is a good one. So that's my entry.
And maybe
we'll go around the table.
Maybe let's also focus like LSP specific. Like what might be some tools specifically for LSP? I see in comments you're asking
conferences, events. Yeah, if we're talking LSP specific, I'm going to say conferences. We're a people-driven industry.
Oh, I see.
Right? People drive from people. Mm-hmm. Hey, you said not just digital tools, so that's my my answer.
Your colleagues are an incredible resource.
We're taking all of the easy answers. Well, poor Lucy is trying.
They have to be.
We're getting all the easy ones first.
I don't know. I don't want to. I can tell you some. Well, I might not tell you some tools that we don't particularly like. But yeah, like we're sort of you've got your sort of marketing tech, haven't you, and like CRM and email marketing and all these different tools like social media tool, and some of them we've tried out and we haven't stuck with them, like for one reason or another. I think that one of the things that I'm kind of interested in at the moment is kind of like in the area of content production, so like creating content, and then everybody can access it and make edits and like presentations, for example. So I mean something simple like Canva. I know Tucker is a fan of Canva.
Yeah, I'm the one that introduced you to Canva. If you're watching, Rachel, I told you I was evangelizing for your brand. Rachel's not watching.
So yeah, I think at the moment I've sort of got that on my mind. Maybe a new tool for content creation that simplifies it all. I know we've had a conversation, Tucker, about like the Adobe Creative Cloud. It's not, because it's not user friendly for marketers. Obviously, it's a design tool. Graphic designers, they're all good with it. But for like marketers who things are very fast paced, you don't necessarily have time to go back to your design agency, and you want to be able to do something kind of more there and then. So looking at tools that sort of allow easy creation with like different members of the team accessing it, making edit suggestions, that kind of thing. So if anybody's got their favorite tool in that space, then I'd be interested to know, to be honest.
Leave it in the comments, guys. I don't care if you're here live or if you're watching the recording. Leave it in the comments if you guys got a favorite tool or something that you found specifically useful for the language services industry. Then I'll let everybody know in this event that we're doing here. But guys, I'm kind of
for like marketers who hello, we've lost the sound, I think.
Oh, I'm sorry.
There we go.
I'm pushing buttons ahead of time here. It's all you, Lucy.
Me?
Yes. Were you trying to say something?
No.
Oh, you know why? Because I turned on the music, and on the same audio channel, I also have our live stream playing. So we were hearing ourselves. We were hearing our past selves from 20 seconds ago. Let's see if this works better now. There we go. So yeah, I was trying to be smooth there and slide the music in. But I failed. So I'm gonna start taking us out here, guys, because we're coming up on the top of the hour, and I want to.
I can't believe that. That went so quickly.
I know.
I feel like I haven't covered it. I've got my notes. I haven't covered everything yet.
I told you she was fun, Nika. I told you this would happen.
Yeah, I mean,
oh my God.
I feel like we can say still so much. I mean, marketing, but also like LSP marketing. And there's a lot that goes into marketing.
Yeah.
Do we have to?
Yeah.
All right, I'm turning the
I
music
know.
off. We'll hey, let's have you back on, Lucy. Or better
Yes,
yet,
please.
maybe Nika Alaverdi needs to be invited to the Business of Creativity podcast.
Well, maybe she does.
Wow.
And I think you already are. Didn't you say that you already are? I don't know, but
Thank you.
Yes, I did invite her, and she didn't get the message.
well, now she's committing to it
There.
online, aren't you,
Publicly.
Nika? Publicly, hold her to that. So I'm going to start taking us out here, though, guys. I want to try something we haven't done here for a while on the program, which is Tuck's takeaways from this. So, what have we talked about today? Don't laugh. Don't laugh. Come on. Don't laugh at me. Tuck's takeaways. Takeaway number 1. Let's see what I wrote here. There are a lot of transferable skills when moving in and out of the localization space for B2B marketers. And this was a takeaway for me because, that's always fascinating to me. People coming in and out of the industry and what skills are transferable and which ones aren't. Tuck's takeaway number 2. Marketers, quote unquote, kinda have to be obsessed about your space, according to Nika.
Yeah.
I love this. Nika, I love this. Another way of saying that is you gotta be passionate. Marketers gotta be passionate. They gotta be passionate, driven people. And lastly, Tuck's takeaway number 3, it is a constant game of asking, experimenting, and evolving. You have to be perceptive, but that's what makes marketing fun. Did I get that right, ladies?
Yeah, I think that pretty much sums it all up.
Well, good. Well, I'll take us out of here, guys. Ladies, gentlemen, chat. It's time. It is time. I hope that you've enjoyed the Nimdzi live experience. If not, well, I don't know. You get what you pay for, I guess. If you're not already signed up, make sure that you're signing up via LinkedIn. Make sure you're subscribing to Nimdzi Insights. Heck, go over and subscribe to Multilingual Media while you're at it. They put out a lot of good stuff, too. Once again and finally, my name is Tucker Johnson, host of Nimdzi Live, and it has been my pleasure to join us all today. I appreciate our guest, Lucy, who doesn't realize she's on camera again. I appreciate our guest, Lucy. I appreciate my co-host, Nika Alaverdi. You're going to be seeing a lot more of her. And I appreciate everybody that contributes to industry research. I'm always a proponent of industry research in our industry. Everyone that responds to Nimdzi's surveys. And finally, I appreciate you, the audience, who are joining us live today. I appreciate all of the good conversation that's happening in chat over there. And I look forward to seeing you next time. Cheers.
Cheers.